So if you're prideful and you feel like you don't have a spirit you're dealing with, if you cannot stop as a woman, if you can't stop wearing pants, if you can't stop eating pork, if you can't stop gossiping and backbiting and saying all manner of evil behind someone's back, if you're having sex and you're not married, then most likely you're dealing with a demon. And remember, Jesus had to go into the synagogue to free church folk from demons. So we've been in America all our life, and it wouldn't be far fetched to say that we have some spirits that we're dealing with. So um, we need to fast and pray that the Father will free us and deliver us from these spirits. Because when He gets here, He's not going to accept any excuses that you were possessed with a demon, because you're being told right now to fast and pray, read the Word of Father, read His Word, get this Word into your spirit, let it dwell in you richly, so that that Word can transform you, so that you can be free and delivered from these spirits. You also need to stop watching TV. Me and my husband stopped watching TV over 9 years ago. We need to stop watching. You have to stop watching TV, cable, these modern movies. Me and my husband stick with the old movies, and start spending more time playing board games with your family. Spend more time reading books, because one day you will not be able to watch it anyway. So just free yourself from it now, because those spirits come through the TV, and this evil, sinful kingdom. They use TV and the media and certain music. They use that to program your mind to think a certain way, and also the demonic spirits come through that medium. So this is how the enemy works to get you to sin against the Father. So we have to do what we have to do. I know it's hard, but once you do it, it's a beautiful experience to be freed from that, and spend more time enjoying each other, enjoying life as much as you can. Go outside and enjoy the weather. I have a lot of fun just creating my own stories and my own skits. So spend more time creating your own skits with your family and your children, and you can enjoy life like that. Be more enjoyable, and you don't have to worry about what they're seeing on TV. Some of these video games is pretty bad too. It's even sexual in nature. You may not see it, but you can hear it. So you need to watch what your kids are looking at. Who's going to get into the kingdom and through the gates? Let's look at 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passes away, and the lust thereof. But he that does the will of God abides forever. So he and she that does the will of the Father will live forever. So when the Father tells you to do something, we have to obey him. If he tells you to give $100 to someone and you decided to only give them $50, did you obey him? If he tells you to leave a coffee shop and you choose to stay, Did you obey him? If someone tells you to give a fish sandwich to a hungry person and you choose not to, did you obey him? Did he tell you to dance for him? Did he tell you to be a friend to someone and you disobeyed? These are all true stories. This actually did happen. And it's a shame to live your life and you're living in vain, because your life will be worthless if you're not doing the Father's will. Because when he comes and asks you what you have done for him and for the kingdom, and he says you have disobeyed everything I told you to do, how disturbing is that? I want you to think about how you're going to feel to see his disappointment on his face. And he may tell you to depart from me. So think about your life. Are you really obeying the Father? And he tells us to obey these commandments. It's not grievous to obey his commandments. You just don't want to obey. So just think about how we have all disappointed him, and we've all fallen short of the glory of God. So we need to fall on our knees, and we need to mourn for our sins and for the sins of our people and the things that we continue to do against him. He didn't tell you to kill your son like he told Abraham to kill his son. But as hard as that was for Abraham, I know it was hard. This was his only son, but he obeyed the Father. He got up early in the morning, the next morning, and went out to kill his son because the Father said so. And then I think about King Saul in 1 Samuel chapter 15. The Father told him to kill every man, woman, child, and the animals. And he chose to keep the king, keep him alive, and to keep the animals alive. And he disobeyed the Father. The Father repented that he made him king, because he can't even obey a simple commandment, because he was afraid of the people. He was more afraid of the people than he was of his God. So we need to examine ourselves and think about how we've been living and change the way we live and start to obey his commands. And then we'll be blessed for doing so. The blessings will be great if we would just listen, hearken to him. He says to be diligent in all his commandments. That means you have to obey, even if it's hard. If it's so hard, you just got to say something, or you just got to gossip, or you just got to go to bed with this man or something, whatever your problem is, you just have to run to the Father, because it's not worth what you will lose out on. It's not worth it. To lose out on the beautiful kingdom, to lose out on rewards and riches over this sinful kingdom, it's not worth it. So you need to fall to your knees now. Don't wait and don't delay. He says to be quick to obey his commandments. And we're also supposed to obey the Sabbath law. That means no cooking, cleaning, or working on Saturday. Some has to work on Saturday, but there's still a way you can obey the commandments even in that situation. But you have to obey the Sabbath law, which is Friday night fall sundown to Saturday night sundown. That's the Sabbath day. That's a day you spend with the Father. And he's very serious about that as well. He says in Revelation chapter 22 and 12, "And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be." 14, "Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. Here in Revelations chapter 20, verse 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Revelations chapter 21, verse 7. He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars, shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So we must overcome our sin. We must overcome this. You know that I have overcome sins of the flesh by reading the word of the Father and meditating on it as a 19-year-old. So therefore, that lets you know that the Father's word is spirit and is life. It is powerful. It's the most powerful thing in the universe. When you meditate on his word, it changes your spirit. It changes your nature. And you take on his nature. You become you become a partaker of his divine nature. You become a partaker of his holiness the more that you read his word. Proverbs chapter 17, verse 4. A wicked doer gives heed to false lips, and a liar gives ear to a naughty tongue. Now, if you're listening to gossip, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. If you listen to gossip, you are a liar, and a liar will have their part in the lake of fire. So if you're listening to gossip and you're a liar, that means the gossiper, the one who's gossiping, is also a liar, whether it's true or not. Now, I've had people argue with me. They wanted to tell me some gossip. I said, that doesn't please the Father. And they tried to force me to listen. I said, I'm not going to listen to that. That's gossip, and I will not be a part of that. So you have to stop backbiting against your neighbor. If you have a problem with them, you go to them privately and you talk to them about it. But that will also keep you out of the kingdom. So you decide what's more important to you. Now, we have work to do. We have to get out here and witness to the lost, looking for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And we need to come together as the Father had commanded us. He commanded us according to Ezra chapter 9, verse 14, separate from those who have taught us to sin. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 25 says to come together more often as you see the day approaching. You see the day of the Father's coming back. He's coming back real soon. And Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1 also commands us to come together so that we can feed the people not only food, because we can go out with food, sandwiches and water, and go out there and witness and minister to these people. So we have a job to do. We need to come together and pray and fast for those who are lost, who will not make it without our prayers. We have someone else to think about just besides just ourselves. We have other people that need our prayers. And you need to study to show yourself approved. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that needs not be ashamed. What if you can't get in the gates unless you know the word. Maybe they might give you a test. You can't get in there unless you can pass the test. So you better get in this word and allow it to transform your spirit. My husband, the way he deals with lust is when he feels temptation, he always comes to me and lets me know about it. So when it comes to, see, my husband's a righteous man, so he's not going to play around with sin. So he doesn't look at a woman. You know how sometimes a woman come outside and she's trying to get a man's attention. There's been women that try to get my husband's attention, and he just keeps his eyes straight forward. He doesn't look. He's a man of God, so he keeps his eyes straight forward. And then he has men, wicked men, would come to him trying to show him porn or trying to show him dirty magazines, and he lets them know, the Lord Jesus delivered me from that, and I'm not going back to that. So I'm not going to look at it, whether she's in her underwear or not. I don't care what she's wearing. I'm not looking at that. That has almost, he said that he lets him know it almost destroyed me, and I'm not going back to that. So he had to fall on his knees many times for the Father to deliver him, and he's not going back to that lust. So I prayed for my husband. I thank God for my husband. He's the most wonderful man on this earth, and I just thank God that he's a righteous man. I prayed for a man of God, and the Father gave him to me. So there, like I said, a good man will go to bed with you if you let him, but that doesn't mean he'll want you. So you have to just settle it in your mind that you're going to wait until you're married before you enjoy sex. That's only for married folks. You have to understand that. So the kingdom is a lot more better than this world. So continue on in the word. Continue to look at the videos while we have a chance to even look at the videos. Continue to look at the videos and get as much information as you can on these scriptures and meditate on that. God bless you all.